security system is very much in the spotlight in the French press today. That's because the country's top auditor has called for a review of unemployment benefits.
That's right. Les Echos, the business paper, says that unemployment benefits are under threat. Now, this is, as you were saying, France's top state audit office, the Cour des Comptes, issued a report yesterday saying that France's unemployment benefits cost France too much. And on top of this, they reminded France that it's very much in debt. And so this system, it says, is going to be unsustainable in the long run. And in fact, the Cour des Comptes called for a complete overhaul of the unemployment benefit system to make it cheaper for the government and also to make it more efficient. And in Les Echos, they take a closer look at France's unemployment benefit system and says that it's too generous, especially compared to France's European neighbors. For instance, in France, you only have to work 4 months over the last 28 months to have access to these benefits, whereas in countries like Germany, Denmark, or Italy, you have to have worked 12 months over the last 24 months. On top of that, in France, the amount of benefit that you actually get is bigger, roughly about 67.3% of your former salary here in France, as opposed to the median in Europe, which is 64.9%. And also on top of that, in France, you receive benefits for a longer amount of time. In France, up to 2 years. In the UK, the limit is 1 year. So basically in France, you don't have to work for as much time. You get more benefits and you get them for a longer amount of time.
Excellent. Quite a good setup. But unsurprisingly, the right-wing newspaper Le Figaro is happy about this report.
That's right. Le Figaro applauds this report in their editorial today and say that it's going to take a lot of courage to change the system. But it points out that these changes are necessary, and not only for France, but also for the good of Europe. Because according to Le Figaro, if France makes these changes, it'll bring France and Germany closer together.
Okay, well, moving on to another story now, the war in Mali, because there's an interesting article in Le Monde about the terms that we use when we discuss that crisis in the sort of Sahel region of France.
That's right. Le Monde says that there's a return of anti-terrorist rhetoric, and it says that both France and Britain are sounding a lot like Bush and the neoconservatives in the US 10 years ago when they coined this term, the war on terror. And there's a quote actually of Hollande. He said this on the 15th of January when talking to journalists. He said, "You ask what we'll do with terrorists, we'll destroy them." So this very aggressive wording from Hollande, and he's leading the way. David Cameron as well has borrowed some words from Tony Blair's vocabulary, according to Le Monde, when he says that radical Islam in the Maghreb region is an existential threat to Western countries. Le Monde points out that in contrast, the US is being a lot more measured in the terms it uses. And Le Monde says that perhaps one reason why Hollande is using such belligerent vocabulary is to try to shake up public opinion and get some more support in the UN.
Okay, well, the left-wing paper Libération is also focusing on what's going on in Mali and the risk of crimes against humanity on both sides.
That's right. Libération talks of a spiral of revenge and says that France has two enemies in Mali, a very clear one, which are the Islamist groups who have taken over the north, but also a more insidious one, and that's the desire for revenge within the Malian army as it reconquers the north. And according to Libération, this is a desire that could completely discredit France's military operation in Mali. They quote someone from the International Federation for Human Rights who said that there have already been executions and kidnappings in the last couple of days, revenge crimes that they blame on the Malian army. So the people that are targeted are people from the Tuareg community as well as Arabs, anybody who would seem to be collaborating with the Islamists. And in fact, Libération points out that the International Criminal Court has already launched an investigation into several of these reported crimes.
Okay, now just to finish off, Aujourd'hui en France, the local paper here, they've got a surprising article about a scientist in the US who's got an unusual and perhaps a little bit crazy, this project that
That's right. His name is George Church. He's a geneticist at the Harvard University, and he wants to, now brace yourself, he wants to clone prehistoric man. He says that...
not prehistoric animals, prehistoric man. It's not quite Jurassic Park.
Neanderthal man, who's been extinct for 30,000 years. Now, he, according to Aujourd'hui en France, they outline how this could be possible. Church says that we have the technology not only to reconstruct the DNA, but to clone our ancestor. And he says it's quite easy. Now, as you can imagine, this has raised all sorts of outrage in the scientific community and raises all sorts of ethical questions. But Church says he's very determined, and in fact, he's looking for an adventurous woman to be a surrogate. So I don't know, Lorna, perhaps you'd be interested.
I wonder what Francois Rancat would say about that. That would make a good report, certainly, but maybe not quite for me. Thank you very much indeed, Florence, for that look at today's French papers. Well, let's get a quick look now, a quick reminder of our top stories this hour here on France 24.